YouTube, I'm PC, and today I'm making this tutorial for you guys. In today's tutorial we're going to be talking about input streams. So what an input stream is, that's where our program can respond to user input in a different way from just inputting it in the command line. You can actually input it while the program is running, which makes it a whole lot more intuitive and more interactive. The reasoning behind the input stream is it's a transfer of data. So it goes in with the user at one end of the stream, and then it goes down the stream and transfers over to the program at the other end of the stream. One other thing about input-output streams, needs to be handled by an exception just for safety's sake every time, otherwise you'll get an error for not handling the exception, even if there is no exception. That's one thing that's different about input-output streams you don't see very often in Java. So without any further ado, let's get on with this tutorial.
Okay, so as always, I've already named the file, and I have started off with the class definition and the main class. So for today, in order to for our input stream, we're going to use a class called scanner, and we're going to import that. Went over that a few tutorials ago. So type in import java.util.scanner, and there we go. So now we got that imported, so we can reference it now. And like I said in the abstract concepts, we have to always test input-output operations with for exceptions. So
hello, I'm MC from the future. I'd just like to say that you don't need to check for exceptions in this. I sort of messed up there. It's a technicality. You have to check for exceptions for input-output exceptions. Anything that can throw an input-output exception needs to be checked for that. But the thing is, this program will not be able to throw an input-output exception. The reason for that is we're not creating an input stream. We're using the input stream system.in, and then we're going to use scanner to read that input stream. So there's no creation of the input stream, and for that reason there aren't any I/O exceptions, and therefore we don't have to try for exceptions. I mean, it won't hurt for us to be able to try for exceptions, but it's just not necessary. So just a little input from me. So continue the tutorial.
So we're going to decide to try. So all of our code will be right here. Scanner code here, and then we'll catch. We'll just say I/O exception, because that's what you need to check for. That's the requirement. We could just put exception here to be more generalized, but I'll just put I/O exception so that you guys know that we're checking for an I/O exception. Must check for I/O exception. There we go. So, and then I'll just print it out. Something went wrong over here. There we go. You can just guess how I did that with Cynical. Alright, so scanner code here. We're going to create a new instance of scanner. So, scanner, type, we're going to call in, input, is equal to a new scanner. And in the constructor method of scanner, we have to put down what input we're scanning. So in this case, it'll be the command prompt window or in .in. So that because this is the input method of our system, command prompt, and this will just be something that you need to memorize. So now I've created it. Now I'm going to print out some text on the screen. I'm just going to spread out the println method over a few lines so that I can fit it all in the window. So system.println, what is your name? There we go. And now we're going to do something pretty cool. We're going to create a new variable called string name equal to in.next line. This is a method from the scanner, because remember in is what we call our scanner. So the next line will take the next line and return a string. So this method will take the next line, convert it over to a string, and it will store it in this variable. Now we're going to do the same thing again, only this time we're going to print out how old are you? And we're going to do something similar this time. We're going to create a byte variable this time, so byte age. And in this one, next line, we took a string and stored it into the name variable, and this one we're going to take a byte and store it into the age variable. So in.next byte, that's all there's to it. So this will grab the next line and convert over to byte, or it'll actually grab all of anything that can be converted into byte and grab that and put it in our age variable, and that'll be that. And now we're gonna print it all out. So system dot your name is plus name plus and you are plus age years old. Now let's read. Your name is your name, and you are so many years old. All right, and this is our program. The thing you learn is that, well, the thing you understand is that we're able to use the scanner class to get information from the input window using these methods right here, and this makes it the program a whole lot more interactive. As I said, interactive, and make a whole lot more fluid, I guess, and it makes it a lot better. Okay, so compile it and put stream .java, and it had an error. Alright, well, I'm not sure why that didn't work. It didn't respond to IO exception.
Hello YouTube, APC from the future again, here to tell you why the program didn't work when I put down IO exception. There are actually two reasons. Number one is that whenever you're working with Java, the stuff you reference has to be part of the java.lang class, or package, sorry. If it's not, then you have to import it separately. And even though IO exception extends the exception class, it's not part of the java.lang package. So we need to import IO exception separately. And you can do that by typing down import java.io .star semicolon. And that's the first reason and primary reason why it didn't work. Another thing is that even if you do that, it will give you an error because it's impossible for your code to throw an IO exception. So in order to avoid inefficiency, it won't let you compile the program. The reason why it's possible to throw an IO exception is because you use the input stream system.in, but you don't create one. We're going to be learning how to create an output stream next tutorial, but in this tutorial we're actually only using an input stream, we're not creating one. So for that reason, it can't throw an IO exception. So this tutorial turned into a real train wreck, but I hope you can still follow okay.
So I just put down exception down. Like I said when I put it down, you put down exception and just generalize. If you don't know the more specific one. I thought I knew this more specific one, but I guess I didn't. So yeah, if you put exception down, you can't go wrong. So I just changed it, and I recompiled it and it worked fine. So now we're gonna run it. What's your name? So you can already see how this makes it a lot easier. It's a lot harder for users to make errors if they're asked specifically what they need to be asked. Ask specifically what they need to give. So I say APC, and the program will just wait until I input it, and then once I press enter, it'll work further. So there you go. It just stored it in the variable. I am 18 years old. It says your name is APC and you are 18 years old. There you go. And that's all there is to it. And it, like I said, makes it a whole lot easier to use and makes your programs a whole lot more fun, I guess. So that's all for this tutorial. Stick around for the challenge to see how well you understood it. For today's challenge, I want you to make a program like this. So first, ask you what your favorite video game is. Mine would be Kingdom Hearts. Then ask what year you're born. I was born in 1993, and then I'll tell you what year you're born and what your favorite game was. Please note that you will not be able to use byte to store 1993. You'll have to use a different primitive data type. So you may need to look up what that method would look like. So there you go. That's the challenge. That's all for this tutorial. Let's run the outro. You've just watched a SynForge tutorial. If you found it helpful, please like the video and leave a comment. This helps out my channel. If you found the challenge helpful, you can find more of them at my website, www.synforge.co. You can also find my games and my other tutorials there. With that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.